So let's rewind for a moment. How does a 10-year-old Jewish kid from New York end up at a Swiss boarding school founded by a mystically inclined Christian Englishman? For years, I had a ready response to that question. My mom warehoused me in Eglon while she was test driving her third husband. But that glibness is misleading and unfair. I wanted to go to Eglon. I campaigned to attend. And I did so for reasons that can be traced back to the alpine passions of another 10-year-old Jewish kid. My father, born in Vienna in 1911, was raised to love the mountains. In a journal he kept as a young boy, he drew pictures inspired by his weekend hikes through the Vienna woods, sketches of mountain ranges, flowers, snowdrops in particular, hound dogs, and deer. When he turned 12, my father joined the local chapter of a socialist scouting organization called the Rote Falken, or Red Hawks. With like-minded leftists, he hiked, rope climbed, and skied the Wienerwald and the Alps. Those adventures and pretty much every other pleasure in his life ceased once Hitler came to power. In 1938, my father was arrested, along with most of his comrades. Yet unlike them, he managed to get himself released. Soon after, he fled to England. The details of his escape are fuzzy. And from there emigrated to the United States, where he found work as a mechanical engineer. After the war, my father returned to Europe under the European Recovery Program, known informally as the Marshall Plan. Whenever he wasn't designing machinery, everything from room-sized metal lathes to a tabletop automatic orange juicer, he'd head for the Alps. By 1958, he had lined up enough consulting work among Italian machine tool manufacturers to resettle in Milan with his second wife, my mother, 2 stepchildren, and a pair of handmade hiking boots. I was born 2 years later. All of which is a roundabout way of explaining why I spent winter holidays in Switzerland. My father would load Mom, my much older half-siblings Ron and Vivian, and me into his Chevy Impala, an elegant, powerful, and generously proportioned first-generation import purchased by an engineer who was himself an elegant, powerful, and generously proportioned first-generation import. He'd then drive the family to Villars, a sleepy village in the Vaud, a French-speaking canton celebrated for its watchmakers, ski slopes, and international boarding schools. A preference for the rustic charms of Villars over the glitz of Gstaad or St. Moritz shouldn't suggest that my father was immune to luxury. Quite the opposite. A classic example of what the Swiss call a couple socialiste, or champagne socialist, he spent lavishly on friends and family and, in particular, on me. While his generosity found expression throughout the year, my father, lapsed Jew that he was, waited until Christmas time to go whole hog, transforming the Villars of my childhood into a life-size snow globe filled with stiff animals, Lego bricks, Markland trains, milk chocolate, and candy. It was my father who introduced me to Sugus Taffies, a superior antecedent to starbursts. Dad was particularly immoderate when it came to winter gear. My closet in Milan quickly filled with goose-down snowsuits and double-bladed skates, wooden skis, and leather lace-up boots small enough to have hung from the Chevy's rear-view mirror. Not that Dad himself did much skiing or hiking by the time I came along. Arteriosclerosis and severe angina made prolonged exertion impossible. And yet, even in sickness, he found a way to honor the Alps. He kept his meds in a silver pillbox shaped like the iconic whiskey cask associated with St. Bernard dogs, once bred for alpine rescue. When I turned 4, my father had a heart exam. That exam led to further tests, and the tests revealed he had cancer. He rejected the treatment options recommended by the local doctors, arguing that Italian hospitals were far more life-threatening than any disease. When my mother finally strong-armed him into consulting an oncologist in the United States, it was too late. Dad spent his final Christmas